You're sick. Not just a little sniffle, like bed rotting, genuinely sick. The Slack message is typed, "Not gonna make it today." Your thumb is hovering over send, and you feel it, that knot in your stomach, the guilt. But here's the crazy part about that guilt. It is older than your job, older than capitalism, older than money, and right now, it is hardcore gaslighting you. You aren't lazy, you're not weak. Your brain is just running a survival program from 300,000 years ago, and it has absolutely no idea that the threat it's protecting you from is already gone. Ask anyone why this guilt exists, and they'll give you the standard NPC answer: I feel bad because I'm letting my team down, because someone has to cover for me. Or, deep down, maybe I'm just being lazy. But that's cap. The guilt isn't really about your team, and it has zero to do with laziness. The real reason you feel like trash is way weirder and way older than a missed shift at work, because that guilt, it's built out of 3 psychological layers, stacked on top of each other, and the third one is so toxic that, even after everything I'm about to tell you, you'll probably still go in sick. So let's start at the bottom, with the oldest part. For almost all of human history, you didn't survive as a main character. You survived as a group. One human, alone, on the ancient savannah, was a dead human. Food came from the squad. Safety came from the squad. Warmth, children, everything, the squad, which means the worst thing that could happen to you wasn't getting injured. It was getting cancelled, cast out. To be pushed out of the group was a slow death sentence, and your brain still treats it that way. In 2003, UCLA neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger ran a study on social rejection and watched people's brains on a scanner. When a person was excluded, the part of the brain that lit up was the exact same part that processes physical pain. Read that again. Your brain literally files being left out under the same category as a broken bone. Rejection doesn't feel like pain by accident. To your body, it is pain. So the guilt actually has a job. It's a panic alarm. It exists to keep you doing your share, so the group never finds a reason to kick you out. But an alarm is only useful if it goes off before the danger hits. Evolution doesn't wait for the group chat to turn on you. It installs the group's judgment inside you in advance. That's what guilt actually is. In 1994, psychologist Roy Baumeister laid this out perfectly. Guilt didn't evolve just to make you feel bad. It evolved to protect your relationships, to stop you from letting your people down before they even noticed you had. So that voice in your stomach, the one screaming that you should be logging on, that isn't actually your voice. It's the tribe's voice. The group living rent-free in your head, keeping you in line long after you've walked out of the cave. Then, a few hundred years ago, a new update dropped. The guilt got an upgrade. It became a virtue. In 1905, sociologist Max Weber described a massive vibe shift where an entire culture started seeing hard work not just as useful, but as proof that you were a good person. Proof of your discipline, your worth, even your salvation. Flip that over, and you see the trap. If grinding makes you good, then resting makes you what? Lazy. Soft. A red flag. The ancient alarm that once said "don't get cast out" suddenly had a second line of code. And resting is a moral failure. So now the guilt isn't just protecting you, it's judging you. And a moral judgment is the one thing you can't logic your way out of. Here's the part almost nobody stops to notice. The thing you feel so guilty about using, the sick day itself, is barely 140 years old. In 1883, German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck signed the first law saying a sick worker was entitled to be cared for. Sick leave as a human right was invented, on purpose, by a government, literally within your great-great-grandparents' lifetimes. Now sit with that gap, the right to rest when you're sick. About 140 years old. The guilt you feel for taking it. About 300,000 years old. You are trying to use a modern right while running on ancient brain software that has never even heard of it. And now, the plot twist that ruins the whole thing, because you'd assume the guilt is at least useful, right? That dragging yourself to work sick makes you the ultimate team player. That somebody, somewhere benefits. They don't. Researchers actually have a name for showing up to work sick. Presenteeism. And when they measured it, the math was honestly embarrassing. The sick employee at their desk, brain-fogged, half-speed, quietly infecting everyone around them, actually costs the company more money than the empty chair would have. So follow the whole chain. A 300,000-year-old alarm, wired to a fear of banishments that isn't coming. wearing a 300-year-old trench coat of hustle culture morality, pushing you toward a sacrifice that helps literally no one, not even the corporation you're sacrificing for. The guilt isn't keeping you safe. It isn't keeping you employed. It's just misfiring into a world that doesn't exist anymore. So go back to that moment. You're sick. The message is typed. Your thumb is over send. And the guilt spikes. Only now, you know what it actually is. It isn't proof that you're lazy. It's not a fair verdict. It is a 300,000-year-old reflex, absolutely delulu, mistaking a day in bed for the first step toward being left behind to die. You probably can't switch it off. Most of us can't. The feeling is too old and too deeply hardwired to argue with. But the next time it hits, when you're ill and your body desperately needs the one thing the guilt won't let you take, you can at least know whose voice it really is. It's not yours, it's the tribe's. Still whispering the same warning it whispered on the savannah. Still trying to save your life. Long after the danger it learned to fear has completely disappeared. Your guilt is 300,000 years old. This video is just 6 minutes. Subscribe for more ancient wiring explained, and share this with someone who needed a guilt-free sick day.